Hey Ava. Okay, so how was your weekend? What did you do this weekend?
It was a really good weekend. I wish it was a little bit nicer out, but that's okay. I spent the weekend doing prepping for the photo shoot for La Rotunda's second show. We were working with like 8 designers and kind of photo, like photography and all of the hair and makeup artists to kind of create this like cohesive photo shoot to like showcase what will be at our show in September.
Uh-huh. What do you think what's the fashion scene like in the Twin Cities? What do you think people should know about?
The fashion scene is definitely alive and well in the Twin Cities. Contrary to popular belief, there is so much creativity like booming here. It's so exciting to see how many different avenues there are. The art scene is quite incredible from music to design to art in general. And I feel like, especially after post COVID, there's just been a desire to showcase all of that and everyone coming together to really show that as well.
All right. Well, welcome to Twin Cities Leaders. I'm your host, Kevin King, and I'm really excited about our guest today. We have Ava Diaz, who is the co producer for Low Rotund and Walk the Line fashion shows that are coming up here on September the 18th. And just a brief background, Low Rotund is a famous cafe in Paris and has a 1920s gathering spot for creators to inspire one another. Is that correct, Ava?
Yes, it is.
And then we have Walk the Line, which is a runway experience with a goal to disrupt the fashion scene in the Twin Cities, with out of the box creativity and exploring the intersection between fashion and visual media. Is that accurate, Ava? Did I get that all in?
That is. It's what's really cool about the 2 shows is how different they are. With Walk the Line, it really showcases how multiple media forms can come together and create something really cool and very immersive. With that show, we really highlighted, um, bringing, like, the fashion and the pieces that these designers are making and bringing them to life in a variety of different mediums. That was whether it was through video, photo, drone footage, and kind of everything in between. And then at the show itself, we really wanted to make it feel like you took a step into another universe and really made it super visually pleasing, not only for the sake of what the video content it would look like later on, but also so that you feel like you're totally in another universe with the light show and the music that accompany it. Through La Rotunde, we really emphasize not only emerging artists within the Twin Cities, but also looking at different mediums of art in a different way in terms of writing, poetry, art, dance, and kind of how all of those things fuse together to kind of create an overall story as well.
That's awesome. And I want to we're going to dive deeper into that as we get going here. But I want to start with your background because I know you have a background in journalism and communications. And I want our audience to know, what led up to you becoming a co creator and being in the fashion space.
For sure. Well, growing up, I always was interested in the arts, dance, like anything creative, whether that was drawing myself or watching Project Runway. I literally have sketchbooks from when I was little that I still have that have like me designing clothes based off of the challenges they do in the show. So I knew at some point I'd somehow end up in that realm. I didn't know what exactly it would be. And going through high school, always was still interested in the arts. Didn't know how I wanted to fully tap into that because I had so many interests. So I ended up going into the journalism realm, mostly because I just always like to know what's going on in the community. And that kind of my school kind of led me to fall into the path of lifestyle magazine media. And I wrote for a variety of local publications and for different communities like Edina, Maple Grove, St. Croix Valley area, um, Lake Minnetonka, and everything kind of the larger suburbs of the Twin Cities, really. And that was a way for me to really tap into the community itself, the people and leaders within those areas. And then I had the ability, thanks to, like, my amazing staff at the time, to explore kind of, like, my interests within those areas. So, I really tapped into the creativity of the community itself, and that's kind of how I then landed into the fashion realm because I had ended up, uh interviewing Amy Seaman, who is a stylist based out of Maple Grove. I actually had a sit down with her and we did a live like styling of my closet where we like went through and she told me what things could I could pair with the stuff that exists in my closet, and we talked about kind of her dreams as she's fallen into the fashion industry. And at the time, she was preparing for her first show with Fashion Week Minnesota, and she was partnering with Sip and Bloom, and they're creating this great show. And I was like, wow, this would be really cool to kind of see her in action. So I actually went by myself to a fashion show, had never been to one in the Twin Cities at all, or ever in my life, ever. And when I sat there, I was like, this is incredible. Like, where has this been all my life? Like, I didn't know this existed. It was really refreshing and exciting to see so many like cool people in one room and seeing so many people dressed like their personalities and letting their like true selves shine through, like, you could really tell that with the energy in the room and just how everyone was interacting, and, like, after that show, I was like, "How do I get involved? How do I make this, like, more of a regular part of my life? Like, I love this so much." And so after that, I started, volunteering and just helping out at a variety of different shows throughout the community, connected with people through Instagram and social media and stuff like that, and kind of just learned the inner workings of fashion shows and kind of how they operate, the flow of things, how different roles interact with one another. And through that, I kind of just started developing like my own ideas, not knowing where it would go, and kind of pitched it to my friend Emma, who's now with Minnesota Monthly. And we kind of were just like, let's have a go at it, and pitched it to, at the time, the people with Fashion Week Minnesota, and it kind of took off from there. And since then, it's just been so incredible to like be so immersed in the community and connect with everyone. And it all kind of, I'd like to say maybe happened by accident, but it also wasn't accidental because it's just everything I love all in one thing.
Well, you know, you mentioned that you started off as an editor, in lifestyle magazines with the different magazines in the Twin Cities, and so, you know, part of when I decided to do this episode, I wanted to tap into. I'm a model, I've been a model since 2020, and I wanted to tap into this whole model creative leadership realm and tie this all together, and so when I know Haley Olmsted, who's the editor of Woodbury Magazine. I'm giving you this story because I'm letting our audience know how we met. Like, how did I find Ava? And so, yeah, I was talking to Haley, and I was like, Haley, I'm thinking about doing this episode, and I want to merge creativity with fashion and leadership. And who do you think someone out there that could speak to this really well? She was like, "Ava Diaz." And I was like, I was like, "Perfect." Yeah, she's the perfect person, that could have this conversation with me because I don't think it's a conversation that happens often. And also too, like, just your background in journalism and then bringing that over into the fashion space, was it seamless for you, or what was it some learning curves going on?
Definitely, there's always gonna be learning curves. I would say that, my background with journalism really provided me with the ability to tap into new realms that I may have not known existed before, or, had gave me the opportunity to speak with experts in the field. And, I've always been a curious person, so I think that's why I fell into journalism, because not only do I like to know kind of what's going on in the community, but also always wanting to learn more. So I think that it kind of was a pathway to get to where I'm going now.
Okay. So when growing up then, or when can you identify when you thought that you had a creative eye, or just a taste for fashion? When did you think that happened?
I always have been pretty, I feel like, experimental with the clothing that I wear. I always look at, stuff on social media, I follow magazines, read magazines, so I feel like there's always been an inkling, and when I was younger, I would be very particular about what I was wearing, that I wanted to wear a certain thing because I liked it, and that was that.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I'd say that I still kind of carry that on a little bit, where it's just like, I'm gonna wear what I feel, and I feel like that should translate to other people as well, just in a way of expression.
Now, just to give some people, our audience, a point of reference, I want you to explain this. Is it Reverie? Is La Rotonde Laverie, right? Which
Reverie, so it
Reverie.
is a French word, for daydream.
So daydreaming, and you said that you felt like in this line that in order to produce what you did, it has to have a dreamy effect to it. Kind of explain that to us.
Yeah, we really wanted to tap into, like, all of the possibilities of, like, creativity, and with the baseline of our show being La Rotunde and having the foundation of it being highlighting different mediums of art, coming all together, that kinda is reflective of also, like, how we interact and collaborate as a group, whether it's a designer, a model, hair and makeup artist, or the producer. So all of us, like, work together, and the daydream element, we were really inspired by that because for Emma and I, it was also always a dream to, like, get to the point we're at, and it's kind of just like an expressive way of showcasing, like, these are our ideas, and even though they might seem kinda wild, we're, like, here and bringing them to life.
Now, I looked at some of your of these styles that you're talking about, right? And they are I like them. They're bold and they're not like what you would normally see or during the runway. I want to know like what gave you the courage to really just do your own thing and carve your own path, think outside the box in this industry.
Yeah, I think it's a way of me showcasing, like, all of the ideas that are, like, festering in my head, like, every time I'm looking at something, it's like I get inspired by things or, like, my notes app in my phone is, like, ongoing of things that I write down so I don't forget or, like, links to things or screenshots. I just think there's so much, beauty in showcasing, like, your ideas in a unique way, and I think me going out and kind of making those dreams a reality can inspire other people to do the same, and I really want my shows to be a platform for, like, up and coming, creatives to be able to do the same as well.
Mhm. I was fortunate enough when I was younger to, go to some fashion shows in New York City, and I've gone to a couple here, when they had Fashion Week here in Minnesota a few years ago, and every fashion show tells a story, it's all the creators or the designers story of what we're seeing and why we're seeing it. Tell me your story and what would we see when we look at your designs?
Yeah, well, I guess from a more baseline standpoint of, like, how the inner workings, like, come about, when I work with my co-producers, we come up with our concept and really, like, build an entire world around that. So, it starts with, like, the general idea, then we go all over Pinterest, find all of our inspo photos, and then we really think about what the hair is gonna look like, ideally what the makeup is, how we want the set to be, how will all of these things look like in the venue that we choose as well. And so we kind of do this whole world building um, to create this idea, and then we go and seek out people that can help kind of bring those visions to life. We recognize I myself don't know how to sew. Well, I know how to sew, but I don't make clothes. Um, and I acknowledge that that might not be my strong suit. So where can I uplift other people that are A, gonna be like-minded, but also B, are able to showcase their talents and kind of almost bring this mood board that we had in mind to life. So
Mhm.
it's a huge collaborative effort and recognizing that we're all there to help one another and all there to provide each other the platform, to showcase their work.
There's so many moving parts when I hear you speak about in terms of who you're working with, the stylists, makeup artists, photographers, models, being on the venue, all these things. And so what is your approach to leading these creative teams? Because everyone has their niche, right? I mean, whether you're a model, photographer, makeup. So, what is your approach to leading these teams when they're when everyone's creative?
For sure. So again, with the our mood board, that's really kind of like our foundation, kind of blueprint. We always like to lead with this is the inspiration, but it's not necessarily like a direct replica of what you need to create as well. So we use that as a way to like spark ideas and then also encourage them to have still their same style showcased in there as well. Because at the end of the day, we want them to showcase their work as well. I think in order to make that whole vision come to life, it really comes down to active communication. With that is always checking in to make sure that people have what they need, the resources that they need, making sure that the hair and makeup artists are also talking with the designers to make sure that whatever they're going to be creating and putting on the model also aligns with what they had in mind for their designs too. So we really make sure that everyone knows each other and is always talking with one another so that at the end of the day we're all on the same page and then it just makes creating the vision even that more easier.
Now, someone who's listening to this who may be unfamiliar just with the fashion scene or may have only seen it from, afar, may think it's chaos and a lot of egos and people, just obsessed with fashion. What are some, I want you to just speak to that for those who may not know, like how team oriented it is really to put on such an event.
Yeah. I think the element of collaboration is what makes it so beautiful. It's more than just a piece of fabric on a person walking down the runway. It goes down to months and months of planning, ideas on how to like bring an idea to life. It's collaboration with not only just the designer and the model itself, but the hair and makeup artist, the photographer, aligning with the producer's vision and kind of working all together to create this thing that's like greater than ourselves.
Mhm. No, I love that. I think about, whether you played sports or not or whatever environment that you're in, like, you doing your job, you know what I mean, and everyone does their job and supports one another. It really adds to the finished product, but also too, like, who you working with and around makes it even a better experience so that when it's done, you're not like, "Thank God this is over. I don't have to work with this person again." You're more like you're so celebratory and it's that happy cry because you enjoyed the experience of just the process of creating.
Definitely. I've definitely had my share of happy tears probably anytime our whole team's together. I just get really emotional and it's honestly the best feeling ever. I wouldn't ask for any other feeling in the universe. I every time I'm with a bunch of creatives and doing, stuff that I love, it makes me energized to, like, be like, "Okay, what's next?" Like, I always wanna like, I'm always creating or always have an idea for something, more or how to improve what we're doing or, what we can do better next time, so I think with that is, like, having that open communication with everyone, it provides us the ability to take what we already have created and make it that much better the next time around.
Mhm. And I bet too, just to see the appreciation, the applause, just the respect that, people who see your designs and your vision come to light has to make you feel really, like, light up inside.
It really is cool, and, in the past 2 shows we've done, I've really opened up, like, the dialogue for people to give feedback from the team, not only to, like, make the next time around better, but it's been also amazing to see people even a year out, like, the show happened last spring, the first round, and people are still posting about it. I have people asking me in person, "When's the next one?" So, it's really, like, amazing to hear that people also received it so well and knowing that they got something from it and are excited for what's next just is so validating and just overall encourages us to keep going.
That's awesome. I love that. So, Ava, now I want you to take us inside of a meeting, one of your meetings. I want you to give us an example or give us an experience of like how decisions get made. I mean, again, by the time this airs, we'll be about 2 weeks out from the fashion show. So, what's a meeting like for led by Ava Diaz?
For sure. Well, it really starts at with like working with the producers. So my two different shows are with two different groups of people, which is really cool to like experience different dynamics. In terms of like the producer level, we really are like the backhand of logistics, basically like the project managers of the entire production. So it all starts with the mood board that I mentioned and kind of putting together ideas. And so usually we'll put together like different Pinterest boards and be like, this is what I was thinking, and then kind of compare and pull things that we like from each other's and kind of go from there, which is really cool. From there, it's kind of a lot of it is just generally like normal conversation, like, hey, I was thinking XYZ, like, what do you think about this? And kind of tweaking as we go along. When it opens up to, like, the larger group with the models and stuff, we really try to have everything already pre-organized for them, like, once they're chosen from the casting, like, we lay out all the schedules and stuff and make it really, like, easy and clear for them to follow, in terms of what they need, where they need to be, all the resources that will be provided for them. So, on the back end, it's a lot of kind of just logistics of, like, "Hey, look at this spreadsheet really quick," or here's the draft of what I have going on to make sure that we have like all of our details covered. So I guess I would say overall it's really conversational. We're constantly texting each other, um, emails being sent back and forth for just like creative briefs and everything. So yeah, it's there's a lot of working parts every single time. It's been a little bit different, but I think that just comes with like learning throughout each time, like what works better the next.
So, who makes the decisions and who has the so is your decision making collaborative, or does it have is collaborative until Ava has to make a decision, or how does that work?
Um, Considering that I work, for both the shows for, like with other individuals, so I work with, Emma Enbach, who is the, style editor of Minnesota Monthly for La Rotund, and then I work with, Sam and Ben Brodsky with Dual Studios and Martine Blanco for, Walk the Line, and there's a lot of different elements that, come with each show based off of the general, like, mission and objective. I would say at the end of the day, I don't know. Sorry. Could you re-ask the question again?
Yeah, yeah. So, like who makes the decision? Like who makes the final decision on things? And is it a
Yeah.
collaborative
So I would
decision, or is it one person?
collaborative decision on a producer level.
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay.
So the people that I mentioned, just now are like we're like kind of the say all end all.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna play a game. Ava, are you ready for this? This is a leadership fashion game. So it's called This or That, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to give me your answer based off of the what I present. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, model or editor, who holds the most silent power on set and why? Now, let me start because I model, so I just want to throw in my 2 cents. I think that the editor has the silent power in this, and it's just been my experience when I'm on set that I don't feel like I have a lot of say so at all. But that's just been my experience. What do you think?
Are you saying in terms of like editor once the photos are created?
Yeah, so like a right, like a creative editor or someone that's like on set who's behind the scenes or is making some decisions.
I honestly would say the photographer has a lot of power because they're kind of reading the energy of the model and what's going on in the room. And we have the producers on set, basically the look. For example, our lookbook shoots are taken so that we can create like a printed material for the show, and it's used as images for promotion. And so it's really the content that's like bringing our show and the vibe to life to help get kind of people there and excited. So with the producers there, they're kind of providing the photographer the shot list, and the photographer is really having the ability to kind of like pick up on the energy that the model's giving and how they're moving, and kind of getting they have like the direct hand of like what is the overall vibe of everything right
Uh-huh.
there. And the editor does play an important role, and there's any creative has an important role in the entire process. But I think at the end of the day of whatever is being captured, like it's already there, right there for you, and you don't really have to do much after.
Okay. So model doesn't has the least. That's just me. That's me talking, but I hear you on that one. Okay, so next one, stylist or photographer, who's most likely to save the day when things go off script?
I would say the stylist is absolutely amazing in everything. They are the ones that really pull all the looks together. We work with a stylist. Her name's Lizzie Averbeck. She is incredible, and we basically give her like, here's the rundown of everyone's looks. We have all the sketches. Here's the fabrics they're using. She goes and pulls all the accessories and extra needs. To kind of bring the whole mood board all together, which is really cool to see and kind of makes it more cohesive across the board. And then on top of that, she always has the kit for if you need scissors, she has it. If you have need a, bobby pin or a safety pin, she has it. So she kind of has all hands on deck, and her the backstage crew is really a huge part of making everything go right on show day backstage.
Okay, so stylist, right? Okay,
Yeah.
next one. So designer or journalist, who's shaping the future of fashion storytelling in the Twin Cities?
I would definitely say the designers. The journalists do provide a platform to showcase them to a broader audience, but the creativity really does stem from the ones making the clothes and showcasing their ideas through fabric and like other visual outlets. So, yeah, I'd say the designer.
Okay, okay, so designers. Okay. Next one. So runway chaos or production perfection, which teaches you the most about leadership?
Honestly, runway chaos. I strive for perfection and organization, but something is always gonna happen that you don't expect, and that's okay. And learning how to think on the spot and work with people in a time of rush, and if you can't find something or, like, the order is wrong backstage, well, the people sitting in the chairs, they'll never know.
Mm,
So, as long as you think quick on your feet and are able to come up with solutions, um, all will be well, and you'll just know for next time, like, "Hey, maybe I could set things aside for something to not go like that."
no, I love that. I know. Again, there's so many leadership lessons just in this space. Again, that people take for granted, or because you don't know what you don't know, and if you're not in that space, you don't know what it looks like, right? And people have their own perceptions about fashion and just the industry itself. So I want to tie this back into leadership and so what do you hope that younger creative leaders learn about leadership from watching you do your thing?
One thing overall, I would just love to, like, emphasize that there are so many ways to tap into like your creative interests. I didn't know that becoming a fashion show producer was something that like I could do. I thought it was just related to um like sewing clothes or being the designer or walking down the runway. I found that that's not necessarily maybe something that suits me and my interests, but I also love being a part of the atmosphere. And so I would say just always be curious, and if you're interested in something, like, don't be afraid to reach out to people, don't be afraid to try things out. um, People are always looking for volunteers or extra hands, so just even, like, trying stuff out is, like, the best route to go.
Yeah. No, again, like I wasn't as familiar with the creative scene or the fashion scene in the Twin Cities. And I've been here for 7 years, but I've always been interested in it, and that's why I'm so happy that we're having this conversation. And I want to use my platform to bring more attention to this industry and this space, and how all these leadership lessons are being created and modeled. And so, you know, what's one way you think we can elevate or celebrate the silent leaders in the creative community within the Twin Cities? What I feel like I'm doing my part or trying to do my part. Like, what do you think are some other ways?
Definitely. I mean, come to our shows. At at the end of the day, we would love to have everyone come. It is always welcome to all, no matter what your background, your interests. If you have any inkling of like, "Oh, I wanna check this out," like, totally do it. Don't be scared, to join. These atmospheres that we create are so, refreshing and welcoming for everyone, and that is huge, especially if you're, curious about certain spaces. But yeah.
Okay. And speaking of coming to shows, your show is give us the date again, and where is this show located?
Yeah, it will be on September 18th at Le Venere. It's a new venue in St. Paul, right out in Lower Town. We're super excited. It's a really sparkly, glitzy space, and we can't wait to showcase it, not only as a new venue, but also the venue for our new show.
And where can they get tickets?
Tickets are not on sale yet, but they will be going on sale the week of Labor Day.
This segment is sponsored by Kowalski's Markets, where it's all about the joy of good food. Ava, I ask all of my guests this one question. So, you ready for it? One last question for you that I'm going to get you out of here on. And it is, what is one Twin Cities hidden gem, a place, event, or experience you think more people should know about?
My personal favorite, I love tacos. So if you ask me where to get them, I will always say Andale. It's my dad and I's favorite spot. It's in on the border of Richfield and Bloomington. It's amazing, and they have a market attached to it. So definitely recommend. Everything on the menu is amazing.
That's awesome. Well, Ava, I really appreciate the time. I learned a lot, and you really provided some great information to my audience, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and I will see you guys next week on the next episode of Twin Cities Leaders.